Hey everyone. Oh my gosh. This is the first time trying to do this remotely and we've failed. Anyways, we're going to try this. It's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here. And welcome to Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right. My mentor once told me just because you have the tools doesn't make you a carpenter. I realized today that thinking this was going to be easy to set up a remote camera, mic, bloody ear sets, they ran out last night. That's what the whole problem was today, will cause a problem. So I will not call myself a podcast engineer, nor will I call Kelsey. Well, now I'll call him one. Anyways, today on our show, we are going to be talking to, it's going to be great. First of all, I'm a little frazzled right now. I just came up from the fetal position. So, a couple of fetal positions, but we're going to be talking about the DIY process of selling your Amazon business and building external traffic with Adam Runquist. So Heist. Oh, we're going to get into that in a second. But Kelsey, where are you?
You almost had his name. Adam Heist from YouTube, and Adam Runquist is his real name. So,
well, that's what I said.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Yeah. But welcome back everyone. It's going to be a great show. That we are having some issues with audio, with feedback a little bit. So I've muted Norm right now. And I won't let him talk for a while. So today, thank you everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode with my brother Hayden. I heard he did a fantastic job. It's great to be back, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with the Beard Nation here. But first, smash those like buttons if you haven't already. You can join our Facebook group at Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective. Also, thank you everyone in the comment sections. Simon, you knew Norm was curled up on the floor. That was correct. Fetal position, but we're back at it. Welcome, Sharon. It's great to see you. Sharon actually connected us with Adam, so thank you so much. And yeah, it's going to be a great show. If you're looking for highlights or full episodes, you can go to our YouTube channel, Norman Farrar. Just search Lunch with Norm. Also, if you're looking for
or a highly edited version of this podcast,
it'll be okay. But yeah, so if you're looking for our Patreon content, if you're looking for bonus content, like our paid membership program, you can go over to our website, lunchwithnorm.com, and just click on the membership area and you'll be there. There's a bunch of guest lessons, all that fun stuff, freebies, free services. You get to hang out with me and Norm. But I think that's about it. If there's anything else, if you have any questions for Adam or Norm during the show, just put them on over in the comment sections, and I'll be hanging out there too, talking to you guys. So it's going to be a good show. Oh, we got to unmute him. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Norm.
You're supposed to be the producer, not me. I'm just the old guy talking.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to be the one muting.
I'm gonna be
Hayden
back. That's it.
If you mute yourself, I can't.
Look, hold it, just a sec.
Wait.
A sec.
I gotta.
Go.
No. This is important though. Wait. So if you mute yourself, I can't unmute you. So I'm going to have to mute you every time. Okay. So don't go muting yourself. Okay.
Cool. There we go. All right. Before we get started, I just wanted to give a thank you before Kelsey rudely interrupted me to Global Wired Advisor, a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business sales process. For more information, please visit Chris and his team. I'm going to be seeing him in Vegas probably today or tomorrow at globalwiredadvisors.com. All right. You know what? I've been really looking forward to speaking with Adam for a long time. I've seen his stuff. It's great. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He's also a Canadian. So anyways, we're going to get to Adam in a second. We're going to be talking about some external traffic. But if you have any questions, throw them over in the comment area, and we will be trying to answer your questions as much as possible. Plus, Adam's got a really great giveaway. And of course, Marsha, who's in Vegas right now, hopefully I can bump into her soon. We've got Stay Well Copper giveaway. So sit back, relax. Oh my God, yeah, right. Let's say that again. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy the show. Here's Adam.
Hey guys, well Norm, it's great to be on with the bearded wonder himself. I think the mutual looking forward to this conversation for it seems like it's well overdue is definitely on both sides. It's great chatting with you. I gotta just say, man, I'll tell you what. Like, did you know it was gonna be 9 a.m. in Vegas time when you set this up like a couple weeks ago? That's a rookie move right there. That's a rookie move.
Man, that was stupid. And I did not think about that. And I'm rethinking maybe Kelsey will have to do the next 2 podcasts this week.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
But yeah, Tim has got me on a planned schedule that's I don't even think we're coming back to the room anytime soon. I think it'll be afternoon by the time we get back to the room from the night before. But anyways, yeah, it is crazy. You're not here, are you?
So I'm going to be there. I'm flying out tomorrow afternoon. I think I land at like 3:30, something like that. So I'm heading out tomorrow, so I'll be there. So we'll have to grab a beer.
Yeah, that would be great. Now, you're going to Prosper and the Empowery thing, the Empowery Women's Conference, or just the?
I'm just there for Prosper. Yeah, I'll be there Tuesday to Friday.
Yeah, so if you see me, make sure we get to talk. There was one other thing here. Kelsey, I just remembered Melissa Simonson gave us 10 tickets. I don't know if we have any left over, but if we do have any left over, contact Kelsey at k@lunchwithnorm.com and you can get a free entry. You'll save yourself a few $100. No strings attached. I think it ends up being $1 that you have to spend. So if you're at Prosper and you want to go to the Women's Empowery conference, which is going to be really good, make sure you contact Kelsey. All right, Adam, for those of us who don't know you, let's get into it. Who are you? What do you do?
Cool. I'll give you the short form, and then we'll kind of peel the onion back from there. As you kind of alluded to, it's kind of funny. There's like these weird geographic undertones within the Amazon world. You got like the huge Aussie community. There's like a burgeoning like Pakistani community now, but like there's this layer of Canadians that we're out there in the Amazon world. So I was born and raised in Canada, as you kind of alluded to. I've actually been in the US for 15 years. So I spent the majority of my career in energy. So I came from Alberta, moved down to Houston, Texas, the other kind of energy corridor of the US, and spent well over a decade of my career in energy. Spent a decent amount of that time in kind of M&A, basically buying electricity brands, primarily in Texas. That led us to ultimately, we had like a really successful program selling electricity with Nest thermostats. So all the higher ups are like, hey, there's something here with these physical products. Adam, let's go, and like the other people that were involved in M&A, let's go look at buying a physical products brand. So we ended up buying a brand out of Utah called Goal Zero. They do like portable generators, portable solar, stuff like that. I ended up kind of relocating from Houston to Park City, Utah about 4 years ago to kind of help head that effort up in terms of kind of integrating that brand that we bought. And that, made me discover Amazon. Like one of the rocks that I turned over in that process was looking at the Amazon channel. At the time, that business was 1P, which is how a lot of traditional brick and mortar retailers start out on Amazon. And I was like, well, holy shit, we could double the earnings of this thing if we flip it to 3P. The problem being, though, you got to figure Amazon out at that point. 1P, Amazon cuts you POs every week. You don't really have to think much about it. You don't have to run ads. You don't have to set up listings. 3P, the world that us private labelers kind of live in, you've got to kind of run the show end to end. So, but that would kind of illuminated the opportunity for me. So I started my own brands. Started out with a home goods brand. I've got a sports and outdoors brand, a supplement brand. I'm partnered in a couple others, and started to kind of document my journey out of COVID boredom last spring on YouTube, just kind of sharing my take on the game and just kind of what I do. good, bad, and indifferent. And that's led to a really cool year. I've kind of become a partner in software company Sellerize since then. I've sold one of my businesses. There's just a lot cooking and a lot's happened. So that's me in a nutshell, Norm.
I didn't know you're teamed up with Dima.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
he gets all the credit for like the creation of Sellerize and all the cool features and stuff. I just kind of help on the content kind of strategy side and kind of building our user base out. But yeah, I was kind of a early fanboy of Sellerize and started kind of posting stuff about it. And Dima's like, hey, do you want to get involved? And so him and I are linked up, and amazing dude, as you know, he's one of the good guys in the space for sure.
You talk about being a fanboy. Yeah, I was one of his early fanboys. Followed him around on his coattails. Anyways, he's a really great guy. We love Sellerize, and we've had Dima on talking about it and how it can benefit. So yeah, we've got to get you into the resource pages for Sellerize. So people, we don't want to have a million different apps that we push. We do push some good app. We like Helium 10. We like Sellerize. So
Likewise.
If there's I'll talk to you afterwards, but if there's a discount code you can give us
Sure.
for our members, that would be fantastic. But,
Awesome.
I'm wondering if I'm scaring you right now because the camera's never been this close. And, I'm kind of just taking over the whole.
Dude, you're a handsome man. You must have put some beard oil in this morning. That's just a fully manicured. Oh,
I
it's
did.
beautiful. So yeah, I think the close-up is just going to make some people that are already beard envious even more envious. So
All right.
not
Okay,
bother me.
there we go.
Not bother me at all.
Okay, so a little bit about you. I know a few things. You've sold your business without any help of brokers. What led you to that decision?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And, I think it's like selling on Amazon. There's no kind of right, wrong way to do it. I guess there's some wrong ways to do it. There's some best practices and some frameworks on how you do it. But, I think that there's situations that make sense for people to bring in the pros and bring in brokerages, even private equity firms for certain kind of company sizes. And then I think that there's paths and reasons for both the brand as well as the individual representing the brand to kind of do the DIY approach. So I think for me, if you would ask me, Norm, like probably 6 months ago, certainly a year ago, hey, does it make sense to sell your brand on your own? The answer would have been easily no. At that point, here's how I look at selling businesses. It's like selling a house, right? You want to get as many qualified offers and buyers to the table as humanly possible to create a bidding war and to increase the valuation and financial outcome when you're selling a business. And so the question you've got to ask yourself is, can you do that best on your own, or can you do that best with professional help? Kind of calculating the cost of what it would take to bring in professional help, which is usually about 10% of your sales price. So for me, I'd done M&A for a number of years in my career, buying electricity brands. So I know my way around kind of financial documents and how these things work. I studied up a lot on how basically in the Amazon space, there's something called seller's discretionary earnings. So it's basically your net income, which is what most M&A is done based on, our EBITDA. But then you can add some things back to your balance sheet that will give you an additional kind of value at the end. So I studied that up pretty well. I felt like I kind of understood my way around that. And I think the amazing world that we live in now, there's a very transparent kind of space now with $5 billion plus been injected into buying Amazon brands. There's over 40 aggregators that I reached out to in the space. So you kind of know who the buyers are if you feel like your buyer is going to be an Amazon-centric channel buyer. So that was kind of my situation. It was a business that was less than 5 million top line. I think when you get above 5 million, you get into much more non-Amazon buyer pools that could be strategic. So I didn't feel like my brand was in that space. I felt pretty confident in my skill set. I knew who the buyers were. And plus I kind of wanted to experiment. That's kind of a lot of what I'm doing. I enjoy kind of tinkering with both my Amazon brands. And this was kind of a unique test bed for me to kind of throw it through a DIY process and see what happened. So that was my decision, but I think it's definitely a personal one.
I would say so. You knew the backyard you were playing in. I see some people that are listening right now that are very successful. I don't know if I would ever, I've sold a couple businesses, and man, if I didn't have the help of the brokers that came in and guided me, I don't think I would have got the price, and they were worth every penny that they earned. But yeah, you're right. There's a ton of aggregators. I don't know why, but this month has been a month of aggregator or broker podcast for us. We've had a bunch of people on, and aggregator versus broker. Private equity. We just had, who was it? We had Stephen Price on from Co-Founders Lab, and he was talking about private equity. And so, anyways, it's just, I don't know why, but we're just on that path this month. But just again, looking at who we have on, like, listening right now in the comments section, if you're planning on it, like, go out, contact a broker, or contact somebody that, is a professional in this, and see what you have to do. Just because you go to a broker doesn't mean you have to sell your business that day. And they probably don't want you to sell your business because they want you to build up some equity in the business. So when they do sell it, they make an extra zero or so. But anyways, let's also, I'd really like to talk about external traffic.
Sure.
You were like that guy. As soon as I saw that we were going to be talking about external traffic, everybody talks about, how do I get more traffic? How do I get more sessions? Let's get into it.
Cool. Well, I'll maybe kind of start with how it became really profound for me, which was, I don't know, about a year and a half ago. So the state of California has a rule. I think it's called the California Data Privacy Act or something. I'm probably butchering the name of it, but very similar to the EU. Any software service, any website, any e-commerce site, any e-commerce marketplace in the United States, you can basically call on this provision that's been instituted by the state of California, which basically you can ask any of these sites, what data do you have on me? What data do you house on me? So I was like, okay, interesting. Well, as an individual, even before I got into selling on Amazon as a private labeler, I've been buying stuff on Amazon since, I don't know, 2008, 2007, something like that. So I'm like, this is interesting. I'm just curious what they house on me. So I kind of called up this request. There's all these kind of forms. It takes a couple days to wait till they accumulate it. But then Amazon will send you every piece of data as a consumer that they have on you. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I was obviously looking at this through the lens of a seller. Like, what can I learn about data to help me kind of rank and do some other stuff? Well, what came back, I guess, in some ways was really shocking, in some ways was unshocking or unsurprising. But they had something like 20 zip folders worth of data on me. And you can imagine basically anything that I've done on any Amazon asset since 2008 when I signed up for an account, they have housed it. So Alexa, Amazon Prime, obviously Amazon.com is a shopper. And so I basically spent the better part of 6 hours going through every single one of these folders. There's 20 zip folders. Some of them had nothing. Some of them had, a little bit of information. Some of them had a treasure trove of data. But the one that had a treasure trove of data, as you can imagine, is all of my shopping on Amazon.com. So my wife and I share the same account. And literally every single search, click, add to cart, IP address, hardware, device, every source that I've come from to Amazon, whether it be direct or from an external source, has been tracked on me for the better part of 15 years. And there's a spreadsheet with every little data footprint that I've ever done. And so I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And really spent I went through with the fine tooth comb, kind of looking at that spreadsheet. And there's a lot of findings there. I think, again, you kind of know that Amazon keeps this data. It's not unsurprising, but when you see okay, I did this in 2009 from this IP address in Houston, Texas. It's a little bit crazy when you kind of see it in your own kind of buying habits, like on paper in a spreadsheet. But there was really two really, really interesting things that kind of triangulated things for me on that spreadsheet, as well as the strategies I was deploying on Amazon. I'd started to run Google Ads at the time and started to have really fantastic results. Again, this is a year and a half ago. So before a lot of people were talking about it, and I was seeing really awesome results. So I thought that was interesting. But the thing that I thought was really interesting that kind of tied it together for me is there's a column within that buyer data that you can kind of see that Amazon houses at the buyer level that shows whether or not the search query came from an external traffic source. And it will show what that external traffic source is if it did come from external. And then it also has a tag and a flag for whether or not that traffic that was external came from an external ad. So they very much are tracking the origination points of traffic, and they're also tracking whether or not that came from a paid ad. And then we can start to theorize about why that might be, what the implications are for sellers. But that was kind of the genesis of it for me. And then I kind of went off to the races, testing every traffic source I could for the better part of the last year to kind of hone in on an approach that really made sense to drive rank on Amazon. So I'll take a breath there.
That's okay. During this podcast, it's best if you talk. So what did you find to be the best? Oh, you know what? Before I get to that question, we had a couple giveaways today, and I wanted to get to them first. So first of all, you had a giveaway. Do you want to let everybody know what it is?
Yeah, sure. So, and I'll let you guys decide what the mechanism is to kind of be the winner. But 30-minute Zoom call with me, and then so that will be one of the winners. And then we alluded to it earlier that I'm a partner in Sellerize. We're going to give away 6 months worth of the $100 a month Sellerize plan, software plan. So if you already have Sellerize, you can still we'll just credit your account. If you're new to Sellerize, we'll basically give you 6 months so you can kind of test drive the software in a deep way for that. So those are the 2 giveaways.
Okay, great. So if you are interested in getting the 30-minute Zoom call and or the Sellerize 6-month trial, that you just need to comment hashtag Wheel of Kelsey in the comment section, and I'll enter you in the draw. We'll just spin the wheel twice and see who that gets. Also, we have a giveaway from Marsha Reese from Staywell Copper. So she's giving away one of her copper phone plates. This helps with to help to kill germs. Yeah, Norm's got one too. We've got it embroidered with the Lunch with Norm logo. Helps keep you clean. So hashtag I want to stay well for that. That is for US Canada only. So we got lots of giveaways. I think we got also the 5 tickets to the Women's Empowerment Conference. That's just email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. First 5 people to email me get those tickets. So that's it from me, and I'll put all that stuff in the comment section.
All right. Thank you. And one other thing, now that we've got the podcast kind of moving along, there we go. Adam's doing all the hard work. If you know anybody who wants to hear more about external traffic, make sure you ping them to get them into the podcast. And if you want to get an extra entry, all you need to do is tag 2 people, and you'll get an extra entry into the draw or into the giveaway today. All right, now let's talk about your external traffic, and let's talk about what external traffic sources did you find to be the best?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends a little bit on obviously the brand and whether you're doing a launch or maintenance. I mean, it's somewhat of a complex question, but I think the playbook and the framework that I kind of go to and kind of advise people to do is there's 2 traffic sources that I use at launch all the time. The first is Google Ads. I think the simplicity of Google Ads, you can basically take any keyword research you've done on Amazon if you want to keep it really simple, and just dump those keywords, for a 2-week launch phase, as an example, into Google Ads and create those ads in Google. So that's typically what I'll do is I'll at least for the first 2 weeks of launch, be running Google Ads. Generally speaking, I'll do $20 a day. If it's a bigger product launch, I want to kind of drive a lot more impressions, I'll do $50 a day. So Google Ads is a staple on everything that I do at launch for sure. The other one that I haven't heard anybody else really talk about, but it can be really great in terms of getting inexpensive visits to your ASIN page is Reddit. So for those that don't know, Reddit's kind of like they call it the homepage of the internet, but it's kind of like what Yahoo News was back, in the early 2000s. It's kind of a hub of information. Especially in kind of in the US, it's super popular. It's not known as a place where people do a lot of shopping, right? It's like a fun site where you're going to find kind of fun news. But what it's really great for, because there's other than national advertisers, there's not a lot of niche advertising that's done on Reddit. But there's what's called subreddits. So Norm, if you wanted to get beard grooming tips, there's like a beard grooming subreddit, I'm sure, that might have 400,000 people in it. So if you're selling beard oil or a beard comb, you've got a captive audience of probably 400,000 people that are part of that audience there. So there's all these subreddits that go down to the nth degree that you could find for any niche. So what I basically do on Reddit is I'll go in and I'll identify those sub niches that are oriented around the product that I'm launching. You create a very simple visual ad. I usually do it in Canva. And I basically drive as much traffic from Reddit as I can to Amazon. That traffic is unlikely to convert. I'm sure some of them do convert. But really it's a way to get inexpensive external impressions that kind of feed that algorithm and that external traffic signal that Amazon absolutely tracks. So the two that I use on basically every launch are Google Ads and Reddit. That's without fail. And then it kind of gets into a bit of niche strategy depending beyond that. I've done for my home goods brand, which is the one that I just sold. I would run a lot of Pinterest ads as well, especially at launch and maintenance. That's a great source for that. I think certain niches it makes a ton of sense for. I'll do this is where it gets a little bit more heavy lifting just because it's harder to create video content, but I'll do video ads on YouTube as well. I think because it's a little bit difficult, it's not crazy difficult, but it's a little bit hard. A lot of people don't do it, but that's been a fantastic resource. So YouTube's kind of a sometimes tool as well. And then some other external traffic stuff that's not paid. I've been doing a lot the last 6 months on content sites. So let's say that you're selling beard oil, like, type in beard oil or best beard oil on Amazon, go into Google and do these searches for your product. And then I basically target those content sites and try to get my product integrated into that content, those authority sites. And then I drive traffic from organic Google as well. So I'd say Google Ads, Reddit all the time. And then there's some niche sites depending on the actual brand that we'll use. And then there's some more longer term strategies with authority sites and SEO that we also integrate into the approach.
Very good. So you said that you spent about $20 on Google. Can the average person set up their own Google ads effectively?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I think that people think that they need to be experts or that they need to do it flawlessly or that they need to run it like they're running a Google agency to like run it. So because of all those things, they get intimidated and they don't do it. And they're just like, okay, I'll just run my Amazon pay-per-click because I know Amazon pay-per-click. Like that's my world. And I'll tell you the juice in life, the juice in Amazon businesses, the juice really in anything is to go to that discomfort level. And you'll find that it's not as scary as you think it's going to be. I would say with a high degree of confidence, even somebody who's never opened up Google AdSense before can set up a campaign for their Amazon product at a launch in 30 minutes or less. Like it's not rocket science. Is it a new interface that you've never seen before? Yes. Is there some nuances to it that maybe make you feel uncomfortable? Yes. But for me, it's something that can absolutely be achieved. And I think the other thing is that remembering what your goals are, especially when you think about launches and external traffic for Amazon. All we're trying to do is to send signals to Amazon. We're not trying to create an ROI accretive campaign, although that would be nice if you got enough sales to pay for your ads. That would be fantastic. But all we're trying to do is to send traffic from external sources, and those traffic signals, Amazon rewards you handsomely for that, regardless of that if that traffic converts or not. So to answer your question, Norm, yes, it's something that seems intimidating on the surface, but it's not rocket science, and it doesn't need to be like a fanciful campaign that's well structured and like what an expert would do. Sometimes good enough is really powerful, especially in the Amazon game where 99% of sellers aren't going to do the stuff that takes a little bit of extra effort.
You started to talk about Reddit. I thought that was interesting. We don't do that. And I've heard people say you got to get into Reddit. And so, I mean, I just put the blame on Kelsey because, he's supposed to be keeping up with this sort of stuff. He's the social media guy. And, hearing you talk about it, I should just take Kelsey off the payroll. But how tough is it for Reddit? Because I am not familiar with advertising on Reddit. I am with Google. I'm not so much with Reddit.
Yeah, so the way I look at Reddit is I look at Reddit as like some of the cheapest clicks on the internet. So like an example, I launched a supplement brand. It was a niche supplement brand, but obviously anytime you're in that world, it's highly expensive Amazon pay per click. I think the cost per clicks were around $3 for that particular product on average. Which we obviously, again, you want to do all the stuff that you do normally on Amazon. I'm not trying to say that this is a displacement for the strategies on Amazon. It's a supplement or an add-on to those strategies. But we were paying, $2 to $3 a click on average for that campaign when we launched it. It was heavily expensive. I think we spent $10,000 or $5,000 or something on Amazon pay per click. Those same clicks on Reddit, which again, they're not going to convert the same way that Amazon traffic's going to convert. So I'm not saying that it's not. They were 14 cents a click. So, whatever it is, a 20th of the cost of the traffic, and you're getting those external traffic signals. So it's powerful. But in terms of how Reddit works, if you've run a Facebook ad before, it's very similar to that interface. So it's visual. So you create an ad for the desktop, which is one size, and you create an ad for mobile, which is one size. They give you a headline that you can use to kind of create it. And then you basically create the country targeting, and then you can create it's the equivalent of interest targeting for Facebook, but instead of interest, it's basically subreddits. And then you can do let the algo do the bidding, or you can do fixed bidding or max bidding on it. But it's very similar to Google. It's something that you could set up in literally 20 minutes. And definitely, if you've done a Facebook ad, it's not confusing or daunting in any way.
That's great. I'll have to take a look at that. Now, you were also talking about going in. Oh, my camera. Did you see that?
I saw
I
it.
got to tell you, I forgot the threaded screw, and it's sitting on my tripod right now, and I just hit the table. I don't know if you saw the camera. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
I'm glad it didn't go.
I really am set up to fail while I'm in Vegas this week. I am not going to go buy a lottery ticket. I'm put it that way. Anyways, you were talking about searching and finding quality sites for beard oil or whatever it is. So you're going to bloggers, you're going to influencers, and you're approaching them to either create user-generated content for them to publish on their network. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, so I've got there's somebody on my team that basically on a daily basis, their goal is to reach out to both 10 YouTube content creators and then 10 content sites a day. So we just it's like, whatever, I don't know how many hours a day they spend on it, probably a couple, but that's their target. So it's kind of like, it's like dating or whatever else. It's a numbers game. Like, finding a girl that's going to like you is harder it's not like, you're not your batting average is going to be low. It's like one of those things. So, you reach out to 100 sites, you reach out to 100 YouTube content creators, and maybe 10 of them get back to you. And then, 5 of them want money that you can't afford. And then the other 5 are somebody you can work with. And then 3 of those end up posting content. So the hit rate's lower on a percentage basis. But yeah, the general approach is that we basically reach out to these content sites with both new and existing products. It's a little bit easier with existing products that have reviews and organic placement, although I've done it with launches as well. But we'll basically come into them and say, hey, you just wrote an awesome article on, the top, 5 beard grooming accessories for men. We love the site. We love the article. However, we've got one of the top ranked or the top reviewed beard brands on Amazon in the US. We bring in $300,000 a month, and our affiliates make a ton of money off of us. We'd love to get our products as part of that article. A, because we think that it gives your viewers an interesting kind of option, but B, there's a lot of money in it for you. And then typically what we'll do is we'll double their Amazon associate commissions. So for those that don't know, the Amazon associate commissions were about 8 to 10% about a year ago. And then Amazon brought out the machete and kind of cut costs. So most of those affiliate commissions are about 3% now, depending on the category. So we'll basically come in and we'll say, hey, we'll double your Amazon associate commissions. We'll send you the product, and we'll try to get our content integrated into existing articles. That's the easiest way. And or we'll create some kind of greenfield content if they're open to it to try to rank another article, which takes a little bit more time. So yeah, we reach out to 10 a day, both for YouTube content creators, which is fantastic, as well as organic Google.com authority sites.
That's what I've heard. People reach out 10 a day, and they can really grow their business. Okay, let's flip it around. Mistakes. what type of mistakes have you done?
In Amazon in general or external traffic?
Yeah, let's talk Amazon in general, and then we could talk outside of Amazon.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I can honestly trace I like to go root cause, like what, like core principles, like what are the core reasons why you're either successful or not successful? Because I think it's important to have that kind of assessment. For me, I can track almost every single mistake I've done on Amazon to one thing, which is I think that we forget who the person on the other side of the table is. So I'll give you an example of like products that have failed. You get into it, you're using Helium 10 or you're using whatever methodology, and you're like, hey, this looks like a great product. You're on Alibaba, you find a factory, you get 5 samples. You're at that point, maybe you're 5-6 weeks into this kind of assessment. You're like, hey, this is great. The math checks out. Like, I can dominate this. I feel good about this. But you forget that there's a human being sitting in Indiana typing in beard oil. And you're forgetting that they're a human being scrolling on that first page of Amazon, and they're trying to make a decision on A, what do they click on? What do they find visually appealing? And B, what's the offer? Like, what's the product, the price, the reviews, the vibe of the brand, everything else. Like, all that comes together for them to make their buying decision. And I feel like we, as Amazon sellers especially, dehumanize the experience too much. We're in analytical tools, which is fantastic, and it's a huge benefit of the game. We're dealing kind of unpersonally with these factories in Asia primarily. And I feel like we forget that there's a human being typing and that there's a human being making decisions. That's very common sense, frankly. And so most of my mistakes on Amazon, especially on the product offer kind of side, is like, I'm like, well, of course, Adam, like, why did you think somebody was going to buy that at that price with that listing image and like that proposition? Like, you wouldn't have bought that as a user. Like, so why would you expect somebody else to? So I think sometimes we get a little bit too deep into the data. We kind of let like decision fatigue play into it. Like, hey, I'm committed to this product. I've done it, all this research. I've got samples. Let's just go at it and see what happens. And I feel like that's where most of the fallacies that have occurred in my decision making have been not thinking about the customer and not thinking about the human experience of how things are going to actually play out in the real world. So that would be, I think, the biggest one for me.
I like that answer. You talk about your customer journey. Well, it's not when you buy the product, it's when you're searching for the product. That's the first thing. Perceived value, pricing optimization, making sure that somebody actually wants to get on your page. And if you make it complicated, because nobody can really, the copywriters that we've had on have always talked about make sure that it's engaging. Have your keyword phrase up front, but just back 2014 where you keyword stuff every phrase you could possibly think of for 249 characters, you can't do that anymore. It is about engagement. And same thing with the bullets and everything. So yeah, I agree 100% with what you're saying. That's a great answer. So I think this will be the final question before we get into the questions. Sure. Biggest mistakes that you've made with external traffic?
Yeah, I think going back to kind of my advice for what you kind of asked the question on in terms of getting into it, I think like I avoided certain strategies because I perceived them to be complicated. So, like, I wish I was doing this stuff 2 years ago. I wish I was doing all the stuff I do now 2 years ago. And I think part of it was just like, oh, well, like, okay, why would any authority site when I type in best beard oil for men want to work with me? Like, you kind of just assume, I'll do that another day. Like, it's the procrastination, I think, is probably the biggest thing that I regret. And I've been early on a lot of these traffic things too, but I wish I was earlier. I just started testing native traffic, Taboola ads, and some other stuff like that. I wish I'd kind of tinkered with that stuff a year ago. That's been a part of the e-commerce playbook for 5+ years for people outside of Amazon. So, today's the best day to start anything on Amazon. So I think waiting for perfection, waiting for you to have all the knowledge, waiting for you to have all the confidence to actually, succeed at a particular strategy, whether it be external traffic or something else, is the biggest fallacy you can have as an Amazon seller. Speed is a huge part of the game. Imperfection is a huge part of the game. You just got to go out there and kind of live by the sword, die by the sword, and see what happens. And so I think I regret procrastinating or kind of fearing things in both my knowledge and how things may work And when I kind of, unshield myself from that, I've made some amazing discoveries that have had profound impacts on my business. So.
All right, everyone. So last chance, if you want to enter into our contest today or our giveaway today, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, and that's for a 30-minute consult with Adam. And if you want to go to the Women's Empowering Conference, eCommerce Conference in Vegas, if you're already here, just God, I got to get off this podcast today, Adam, and I swear I'm going to have you back on when it's in my environment. So it will be, let me finish, Kels, before you cut me off. All right.
You got it?
So
Okay.
that will be just email over to Kelsey, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And we have hashtag I want to stay well with Marsha. And that's for the Stay Well Copper. Did I get it right, Kels? Am I just slowly going to fall to the floor?
So. No, you're good. There was just one more
and by
thing.
the way,
Adam is also
I saw
giving
Tom
away.
Hartley's comment because I saw that thread with Tim and Paul. No, Tim does not share my room.
He's off camera right now.
That's right. Yeah. Oh. Oh my gosh, that would be a sight. All right, so let's start with the questions, Kels.
Okay, so we do have quite a few questions. Just pick one at random. Let me see. Dr. Kaz is one.
Yep.
So from Dr. Kaz, hey Adam, what is your opinion on building good article content? 2,000 to 5,000 word articles on an eCam site, build authority, organic search on Google, similar to tactics used by affiliate marketing folks?
No, I think it's a fantastic question, and I'll answer this basically by saying to be determined. One thing that we literally just started doing was building our own authority sites from scratch. So, if I've got a beard oil brand, like basically not branded in my brand name of what I'm actually selling on Amazon, but an authority site branded and building that content out from scratch. So I'll let you know in about 6 to 8 months. I think part of the thing that you got to realize with this strategy is it takes time. I mean, Google SEO is a longer tail game that you've got to you got to build domain authority. You've got to build backlinks, and it takes time for Google to reward sites with traffic. So it's expected to take 6+ months is kind of what I've been told. But we've started doing that. I think one thing that can speed up the process, I've been buying age domains. So you can either go create your own domain and kind of go to Namecheap or whatever your domain source is and buy one from scratch. But that's going to have no backlinks. So what I've been doing is buying age domains that were from an old brand or an old site that's since been kind of sunsetted. And they might have had links. So one that I just bought as an example in the sports and outdoors space was a product brand that basically failed, but had a really good name that's associated with my niche. Like it describes my niche really well. So we bought that domain, and they've got links from New York Times, TechCrunch. It's got like a really good domain authority. And then we're basically dumping in about 100,000 words of content across 30 or 40 articles that we'll develop. We'll write those and then try to rank them and create them from scratch. So that's one strategy I'm using. The other one that I'm going to start doing is basically buying these sites. So going to these authority sites and being like, hey, you have a lot of already well-ranked content in my niche. Let's work at a deal and let's buy your site. So to be determined. I haven't run that strategy to the end yet because it takes a little bit of time to play out. But I'll probably know in about the next 4 to 8 months how it's working.
When we publish an article, we usually try to get about a 1,500 word article. Might be a little bit less, but try to around 1,500. And then at least once a quarter, you add about 250 words to it. And you just keep building it out and building it out. Yep. Also, we embed YouTube videos. The reason for that is just to keep eyes on the page longer.
Love it.
Okay, great. Next one is from, let me see, Simon. So Simon says, do you drive Google ad traffic direct to the ASIN? Do you need to use a specific URL for the ASIN?
Yeah, this is a really good question. And I think it's probably one of the most common questions I get on external traffic. And again, this is my approach. Whether it's perfect, I don't know, but I always go direct. Again, looking at the data footprint that Amazon keeps behind the scenes, They track the refer. So where's the external traffic coming from? I want that to actually be from the site that it's coming from, in this case, Google. And then they track if it's coming from an ad. And I think they actually give it credit if it's coming from an ad, because you're spending money that they're not to drive external people to come to Amazon. Whether they buy your product or not, Amazon's getting more data. They can retarget them. They've got additional information to optimize their economics. So I do direct shots. There's some stuff that I'll use now with like Reddit to make it kind of look like Google traffic. So there are some tricks of the game there. But generally speaking, for your core traffic sources like Google, Pinterest, YouTube, do direct shots and have it go. You're going to get as much organic juice just doing those direct shots as you would doing canonicals and other things that kind of guys keywords. So that's my approach and recommendation.
Okay, great. So let me see. Next one from Sam. How do we identify the best social media platforms with respect to our product? How do we identify our audience? If any resources available around this topic, kindly do share. Much thanks.
Yeah, so I'll answer the second one first because it kind of informs the first one. So how do you identify your audience? I think it helps if you're the buyer. So like I'll give you an example. The brand I just sold was a home goods brand. I was not a customer for that brand. Like my wife was much more a customer for that brand. So it was a decent amount of work for me to get into the mind of that customer. Where do they shop? What are the trends? What are the aesthetics that make sense for that customer? Versus my second brand that I launched, which is in my wheelhouse of a personal, thing that I love doing, and I'm the customer for that brand. So I think it's easier if you're new to this stuff in terms of getting into the mind of customers. If you are the customer, I think it's just a little bit easier to piece it together. It's easier for Norm to understand what beard grooming tools and strategies are and products are the best versus a 50-year-old housewife or something like that. It's two different sets. So I think it helps if you're the customer. In terms of identifying where they are and what platforms make the most sense, I think you've got to become that customer and get into the world that they live in. So you need to be participating in the Facebook groups. You need to be in the Reddit subreddits. If you're doing home goods, you need to be in Pinterest. So I think you need to go and find where your customers are and listen in on those conversations so that you can get an understanding of their needs and pain points and ways that you can differentiate your product and brand. But I think that for a layman, I think it's easier it doesn't mean that you can always succeed with your passions or what you're interested in. But I think it helps if you're the customer starting out when you're building a brand and getting into the mind of a customer.
There's also a shortcut. When we had Ram Fishkin on, he has an app called Shark Toro. Kelsey, maybe you can put it in there, and that'll help you fairly quickly identify your audience or your audience's influencers, so you can do a bit more research. It's a great app.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in right now to the group. Okay.
It's
awesome.
Yeah.
Sparktoro, yeah. Okay, from Giz, when you're doing Google Ads, do you always advertise a coupon? Like, for example, save $2 on XYZ.
So I never do coupons with Google traffic. I just think that you're already sending them to Amazon from like a non-visual ad, and so I just think having them to do coupons and stuff, I think it gets a little bit tricky. Generally speaking, what I do is I'll discount my product at launch for a period of 2 to 3 weeks. So let's say I'm selling a product for $50. I'll have a launch price of $29.99 for 2-3 weeks, and I'll promote that in the ad. So I'll basically say, 40% off for the next 2 weeks launch special, no coupon code needed, $29.99, usually $49.99. So like call out exactly what the economics are in a clean way in your headline kind of content, so that customers before they click know what they're basically getting, and there's not a whole lot of like thought process going in, because you're paying for the click, you're not paying for what happens after the click. So I want to kind of somewhat pre-qualify my traffic as well as create a no behavior required kind of incentive for customers. So that's my approach. I basically discount the product at list price for a period of launch, and I use that as the hook in my launch ads. If it's an ongoing thing, sometimes I'll do like a Google ad around a Amazon coupon that's already, you can kind of add to it. But generally speaking, I like to keep it as simple as possible.
Very good.
Okay, cool. So we have one from, let me see, Jungle Ops. Jungle Ops says, have you ever played with non-targeted advertising?
Not explicitly. I think like Taboola is a little bit like that, where you get into more like audience slash behavioral based targeting with native ads that can kind of come in. So you could, a little bit, but generally speaking, most of my stuff is more discrete, targeted campaigns. So yes, a little bit, but primarily that's not my wheelhouse. Norm, I don't know if that's your wheelhouse, and you can maybe opine on it.
Sorry, I was just checking out something on the in the comments.
No worries. Have you done any non-targeted advertising?
Not really. We're always trying to target our demographic.
Agreed.
I almost on one product was looking at some outside digital billboards. I thought that would have been a great, like for this one product. I thought it was a beauty product, and I thought it was very unique. And I thought, I'm going to do this, but it ended up just being way too much.
Yeah, I think the non-targeted approach needs to be companioned with a pretty large budget, and you gotta cultivate the data coming out of that non-targeted to funnel it down. So,
but you know what was interesting? Like I was watching a UFC fight, and some of the advertising in the ring sometimes makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a shotgun approach, but it's very targeted, right? If you want to watch a UFC fight, there's your demographic. It's a captivated demographic. But then you've got these odd advertisers that are in there, and I'm going, why did they spend the millions? Is it just brand awareness? And I guess that's what it is. I mean, you can take a shotgun approach, or you can take, more of a rifled approach. And I'd rather spend my money right now for the most part. And the shotgun's not a bad approach, if you've got the money to blow, and if it's for brand awareness, maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we are coming up to the hour now, so I'm not sure how everyone's for time.
Okay.
But we can take a couple more questions. We got a lot of questions, but
are you good, Adam?
Yeah, we also have to do the wheel
good.
spill. Okay, great. So let's do from Victor. This just came in. Do you believe the A9 algorithm only ranks you for keywords in specific price bands, so that a discounted price may not hold your rank when you return to regular price?
I've heard of this, and I've heard grumblings of this kind of really the last 3-4 months. I've kind of heard it kind of come up. I personally never experienced this, so I'll just speak to my own world of experience. There's obviously price sensitivity from a customer conversion standpoint that is absolutely going to impact your rank, especially for kind of non-launch periods where you've kind of got a more seasoned ASIN. But I haven't personally seen a direct correlation that's punitive at the price band level, although I've heard others speak about it. But from my experience, the answer is no. But I'm not saying that's the hard and fast rule. There could be something, but my experience has been no.
Okay, and just a second.
Yeah, okay. Kelsey's controlling my mic, by the way, so that's why you see me sometimes be muted all the time.
Tim Jordan's just been muting his computer when he's not looking back there.
Oh, that Tim.
Tell him to go back to bed.
He's hacked me. Oh my gosh. I was going to go back and talk about you could use a press release. We were on a question a couple back about discounting your price. You can also use a press release for this. You can't use sales language in the title. You can't use sales language in the description. However, in the quote, that's where you can be, the CEO of the company, Norm Farrar, said that we'll be discounting the product $10 or $20 or 50% off during our new product launch. And that's completely within the guidelines of a press release. So even though you hear, and I tell people not to use promotional language, can use it to get that word out, and then you're going to get links as well, higher authority links going back to your product.
Love it.
Okay, cool. So next one is from Rad. Is social media a great way to get external traffic, or should he focus more on Google Ads?
I think the difficulty with social media for most Amazon sellers is most people don't give a shit about your Amazon brand unless you've cultivated it properly over time. And so if you've got an existing audience and you've built and curated your own brand and you have a following, you absolutely want to tap into that. But I think in terms of like having a lever to be able to kind of lean into quickly and efficiently, I think that paid traffic is going to be easier to drive impact at launch. As a longer term strategy, I think it definitely makes sense to cultivate audience and leverage it over time. But for the layman Amazon seller, I think paid traffic's an easier way to get started.
Okay, I think we just have a couple more. Let me see. Okay, Nier's asking, did you go anywhere to find the Reddit tricks, or was this something that you kind of just discovered?
Yeah, so honestly,
going to these groups.
My secret is not really a secret. It's basically to look at what people that don't sell on Amazon, so more traditional D2C brands, how are they getting traffic? And I try to leverage those strategies because, again, 99% of Amazon sellers don't do that stuff because it requires a little bit of work. So I just I was a user of Reddit and I started seeing ads on it. And then I'm a user of subreddits, which are very niche specific. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if you can run ads, or how do you run ads? And for me, it was just experimentation. That's how a lot of what I do kind of plays out. In terms of where you can find the tricks, I did a video about a year and change ago on basically Reddit ads for Amazon. If you just type in Reddit ads in Amazon into YouTube, you'd probably find it. And it kind of walks through and then how you can set that up. But yeah, that's I kind of did it through experimentation, but it's pretty easy to set up if you wanted to watch that video.
Okay, great. I'm going to throw that in the comment section
Cool.
right now. And then I think this can be our last question from Mohammed. How about Amazon Post? Is it worth using? What is the percentage average conversion you're getting?
Yeah, good question. So again, this is something I've just started to experiment with. And for those that don't know, when you click on a particular ASIN, whether it's yours or somebody else's ASIN, for those subset of customers that go through every bit of content and scroll down to the bottom page, there's basically related posts that will show up for either your product or competitors' products at the bottom. So I've started to experiment with Amazon Posts. I definitely think it's if you've got a team, especially, that you can just add a daily workflow to them to be able to do a post. I think it's definitely worth using. The average conversion, I don't think you're going to get a lot of impressions or a lot of conversions, but it does add up. I mean, you will see a decent amount of traffic that comes through Amazon Posts. So it's something I highly recommend testing and doing. It's kind of a hierarchy though. Like, I think you want to hone in on the basics first and make sure that you're doing the fundamentals right. And then you work your way down the chain into other things. So I think it's lower on the chain of priority, but it definitely holds value. It's easy to implement, especially if you've got a team. So.
Very good.
Great. Norm, do you have anything to add on to that?
Well, yeah, just Amazon Post is a great way to be able to, it's kind of like the final click. If people are scrolling down and they see these posts, they're not on a white background. They look like an Instagram post. The more that you put out, like let's say you put out even 3 to 5 a day, you're going to be spread out on more and more competitors. And we've seen it where we had one post. This is crazy, Adam. This is one post that got 200,000 impressions. We got 2,100 clicks out of it. And it was for like a product that was selling for about $124. So, you just don't get that. Plus, Amazon, and I think this is made purposely, they've made it very hard for you to buy. You have to hit the click, so the related post. You either hit the logo or hit the image. Then you click a third time to show the product listing, and then a fourth line to buy the product. So they make it either 4 or 5 clicks. And in the e-com world, if you click off once and then twice and then three, I mean, you're getting zero traffic. They want a captivated audience. And the other thing I've found is that if you're one of the ones that are doing it consistently and you're monitoring your reports to see what are the most engaged posts, you can really dominate this. And we've had some really great successes with Amazon posts. And, we've seen people that, hey, I've posted once a month and I don't get any traffic. You're never going to get any traffic. You've got to be continually posting. And some niches are a lot easier than others. And if you're one of those niches that you're one of the only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people doing it, man, you can get some really great traffic.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's a little bit to be determined, but it's going to be a really strong asset is you get follows as well. Sharon actually just mentioned that you can kind of post your store. So you can post your store and then you might get follows on your store. And then those are people that you can directly communicate with now if they're followers of your brand. So again, I think it's like anything. It's work, but it's effectively free clicks and free kind of audience cultivation. And it's not that difficult to implement, especially if you get a seamless process together. So highly recommend.
Okay,
great. So I think it's that time for the Wheel of Kelsey. Adam, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but I hope you enjoy it.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Okay. Where is it, Kels? There we go.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is a little slow today. But we got lots of names today, so we're going to do 2 giveaways with Adam. So the first one will be the 30-minute consult. The second one will be the Sellerize 6-month trial. So if you are the winner, please email me at k@lunchwithnorm.com, especially if you're from YouTube. I can't contact you through that, so you have to contact me. So make sure if you're the winner, you get your prize. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we have 1 prize after this as well. So this is for the 30-minute consult. Oh. Okay, Sam is the winner. All right, sorry, Tony, you're so close. All right, next one for the 6-month trial for Sellerize. Is it Amar on the line?
Sweet.
Okay, so I'll connect you guys with Adam. We also have one more wheel to do. This is for the Stay Well Copper from Marsha Reese. You can, for more information, visit staywellcopper.com. And we'll just do this quickly here. All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, Gerard is the winner. Okay, so again, if you are the winner, contact me at k@lunchwithnorm.com and I'll do all the work. I'll connect you guys. And yeah, I think that's it.
Adam, I don't believe we got through this podcast.
Awesome,
when
man.
we first started, when I first came onto the podcast, my mic wasn't working, camera was, oh my gosh. Oh, we ran a little late. We started a little late, but we got through it. But I promise you, the next time we have you on, it will be in a studio environment and I won't be, falling off my chair.
Dude, it was a pleasure regardless of the environment to finally touch base, and look forward to cracking a cold one with you in Vegas, and we'll do it in the proper studio at some point in the future, I'm sure, man. But thanks for having me on. It was a blast.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Yeah, it was about time.
Totally.
All right, Adam. Well, thanks again for coming on. It was a little shaky, but we got through it. And now there's Kelsey.
Oh, and Adam, how do we get a hold of you? How can people watch your content?
Cool. So if you type Adam Heist into YouTube, you'll find me there. Feel free to subscribe. I usually drop a video a week. I'm not selling stuff. It's pretty much just me sharing my approaches on the Amazon game. I've got FBA Exit or Facebook group. Just type in FBA Exit into Facebook and you'll find me there. I kind of just share news on the space, who's raising money, what things are happening, different resources if you're selling your brand. And then go to sellerize.com/heist if you want 1 month free of Sellerize. Cool.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
There.
And there we go. Sorry.
I just saw, nothing like having somebody control when you're on mute or not. But anyways, he's got the control. All right, Adam. Well, thank you for coming on, and we will talk to you soon.
Cool. Cheers, fellas. Take care.
All right. See you later. Okay,
Thanks.
Kelsey. So we did get through that one. Whew.
Yeah, that was a fun podcast. Yeah, it kept me busy.
Yeah, very
All
busy.
right, but thank you, everyone.
So what I was going to say is we've got Megla coming on, and we're going to be it's Megla and Margaret Jolly going to be coming on, and Megla, as you know, she's been on a few times. She's source in India. That's her trip, but she's going to be talking about made in India products. She's got a new website that just launched. We're going to be talking about that, and she sent me over a bunch of different products. And I was really surprised at the quality. So we're going to talk about what to expect, what not to expect. And that's going to be on Wednesday. And hopefully by then, Kelsey, the producer, will fly to Vegas, set this up properly for me. And we won't have the glitches like we had today. But we got through them. All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention is the episode's sponsor today, .club. .club's the most used new top-level domain name and the perfect web address for your business. And you've probably noticed this if you follow me at all. Most of my domains and most of my domain brands are all .clubs because I think it builds a community. It's not just a brand. But that's outside of the sponsorship plug. All right. So, Kelsey, what else do we have to talk about today?
All right. So, of course, smash those like buttons if you haven't already. I also saw a bunch of new people from YouTube. I think Adam brought some people. That's great to see. It's always nice to have new people from YouTube. I muted him, so I can talk now. But yeah, so thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's great to be back again. I'm glad to hang out with the Beer Nation crew. Sorry I wasn't in the comments as much as I usually am, but we had a lot to do with the muting and unmuting and the audio issues. So hopefully by the next episode on Wednesday, we'll have all this figured out. And yeah, so if you're looking for extra content, bonus material, guest lessons, private group sessions with us, we have our Patreon group. That is something that there's only a handful of people. I think there's about 10 people altogether. So if you want some insight into Amazon e-commerce, if you want just a little more knowledge, you can sign up for that. That's just go to our website, lunchwithnorm.com, and there's a membership area that you can just click on. That's the easiest way to do it. And if you're the winner, Gerard, Sam, and Amar, please contact me at k@lunchwithnorm.com, and yeah, I'll connect everyone. All right.
So I heard you talking. You muted me, but we had a bunch of new listeners on, and wow, I'm sure these new listeners are blown away by the quality of the audio.
The professional.
Yeah.
The professionalism.
Right. The professionalism, yeah. What the heck? We're in Vegas. Okay, so please join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. I wish that was Vegas time. But anyways, I'll get up, even though Tim's going to be dragging me out all over the town. And thank you for watching. Thanks for being part of the community. It was a real pleasure doing the podcast for you today. And wanted to thank Adam again. I mean, he put up with a lot. But guys, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Lunch with no lunch with no lunch.